AI is definitely not the final stage of bubble yet. It is still in the early stage, and I believe from here the investment and development will start to move even faster. So please ignore all the bad news or Wall Street say the AI is bubble. They just want you to sell so they can buy cheaper price. But there is a big major problem of AI. That's electricity. As many of you probably heard at this point, AI data centers they actually consume more electricity than entire US household consume together. So, and on top of that, people around the world, think about it, they all use ChatGPT, Gemini, and many other US AI product. So basically, the systems, data centers, they cannot stop. They have to run 24/7. Because of that, there is electricity shortage, and I believe that next 10x stocks will come from the nuclear energy industry. Today, we will look why nuclear energy is so important at this point and which stocks may have very strong potential to go upside. Before we start, I post breaking market news every morning at market start time. So please check it out. I strongly believe this will help your investment decision. Okay, then let's get started. The reason why nuclear power is important is simple. Right now, there is no more effective way to produce energy than nuclear power. Nuclear energy can generate a massive amount of electricity in a small space, and it can do so reliably. The numbers make this even clearer. According to the Nuclear Energy Institute, nuclear power can produce electricity using about 31 times less land than solar power and about 173 times less land than wind. A 1000 megawatt nuclear power plant needs only about 1.3 square miles. Solar needs sunlight, wind power needs wind. But nuclear power can keep producing electricity regardless of the weather. This is extremely important for AI data centers because AI servers cannot stop running just because today is rainy day or this is nighttime. When we look at the capacity factor, it becomes even more clear. According to the US Department of Energy, in 2024, nuclear power had a capacity factor of over 92%. Natural gas was about 60%, wind power was 34%, and solar was about 23%. This means nuclear power produces electricity almost continuously for most of the year. Currently, the most widely used energy source of electricity generation in the United States is natural gas. As of 2025, natural gas accounted for about 41% of the US electricity generation. Renewable energy is about 24%, nuclear about 18, and coal about 17%. But natural gas is not effective either. You have to keep burning fuel. Fuel prices matter, pipelines matter, and there is also the issue of carbon emissions. On the other hand, nuke power has an overwhelming advantage in fuel density. To produce the same amount of energy as one uranium pellet about the size of fingertip, you would need about 1 ton of coal, 149 gallons of crude oil, 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas. This is crazy. In simple terms, nuclear power requires far less fuel to produce the same amount of energy. In fact, even from an environment perspective, I think nuclear power may actually be more effective. Think about how much environmental pollution is created in the process of making solar panel. And electricity does not end with just production. There is also the transmission grid problem. Right now, a lot of renewable electricity is located in desert, large open land areas, windy regions, and offshore areas. But to send the electricity to places where data centers are located, we need transmission grid. The problem is that transmission grid is not expanding fast enough. So going forward, it will not only be important to send electricity over long distances, it may become more important to produce electricity close to where it is needed. This is where SMRs or small modular reactors come in. instead of building one large nuclear power plant, place small reactors near data centers or industrial facilities. This can reduce the burden on the transmission grid. For AI data centers, dark factories, automated factories, and military facilities, this idea could become increasingly important. Honestly, no matter how you look at it, it is not easy to think of energy source more useful than nuclear power right now. Because of these reasons, and because of expectations for US government deregulation, Big Tech is looking at nuclear power again. Microsoft signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Constellation Energy. Amazon signed a deal with Talon Energy and could receive up to 1,920 megawatts of carbon-free nuclear power through 2042. Meta has also announced nuclear-related deals with Vistra, TerraPower, and OKLO. So today I want to introduce 3 nuclear-related companies for you guys. The first company is OKLO. OKLO is the most aggressive stock. OKLO announced an agreement with Meta to support the development of up to 1.2 gigawatts of nuclear energy in southern Ohio. This project is designed to support Meta's regional operations and its new Albany AI supercluster. The reason OKLO is attractive is it has a microreactor story that could supply power near AI data centers. It also has connection to Sam Altman. And compared to large power companies, it is still much more speculative company. So if good news comes out, it has the potential to move more than 10 times very quickly. But the risk is also the highest. Technology, regulation, fuel supply, construction, and timelines are all major mountains it has to climb. So this should be viewed as high-risk, high-return nuclear stock. The second one is TLN, Talon Energy. TLN is directly connected to Amazon. Talon has a long-term agreement that could supply up to 1,920 megawatts of nuclear power to Amazon. This agreement could continue through 2042, and the power supply is structured to ramp up over time. The reason this is important is Amazon needs a massive amount of electricity because of AWS and AI data centers. And Talon is not just about future expectation. It has real nuclear assets and a real customer. And the customer is Amazon. So Talon may be less exciting than OKLO, but the story is much more realistic. And if other large customers come in, the stock is in a position where it could quickly move another 2 to 3 times higher. The third one is VST, Vistra. VST is a nuclear beneficiary connected to Meta. Vistra and Meta announced a 20-year power purchase agreement, and this agreement is structured to support increased power generation from 3 Vistra nuclear plants in the PJM region. The advantage of VST is that it already has operating power assets, and compared to the 2 companies above, it is a more stable and larger company. In other words, it is not a company that depends only on future technology expectations like OKLO. It is a structure where Meta's AI power demand is being attached to existing nuclear assets that gives the story more realism. To summarize, OKLO is the most aggressive AI investment. Talon is the Amazon nuclear power play. Vistra is more realistic nuclear beneficiary connected to Meta. In fact, the most stable company is actually Constellation Energy Corporation. Ticker is a CEG, but the stock price already reflects a lot of the story, and because it is a strong, stable company, it may not have as much room for being moved. However, for those who have a hard time handling volatility, Constellation Energy may be the best individual stock choice. Also, if you guys don't like individual stocks, investing in a nuclear ETF like NLR can also be a good choice. NRR is an ETF that includes not only uranium mining but also nuclear construction, engineering maintenance, nuclear power generation, and nuclear equipment and services company, basically entire ecosystem of nuclear. And also because I came from Korea, I have heard about nuclear technology for a long time. Korea is a small country, but it has a strong manufacturing industry. So it has relied heavily on nuclear energy for a long time in order to produce electricity as efficiently as possible. The US has a lot of land, so this may not have been a major issue in the past, but as data centers are being built, I believe nuclear power plants have now become an unavoidable choice. Of course, there are many. Of course, there may be interference. Of course, there may be interference from oil companies, but I do not think they can stop the bigger trend. In my next video, I will introduce one of the best uranium companies to watch because every nuclear power plant needs uranium. This could be another great investment opportunity, so please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.